While the future of many federal employees remains uncertain due to efficiency cost-cutting measures by the Trump administration, some VA employees are returning to work, and volunteer drivers for disabled American veterans are also coming back on board. MTN's Owen Skornick-Hayes has more on what it took to get the drivers back on the road and why the service they provide is so important.
2 weeks ago, MTN brought you the story of challenges faced by the DAV due to their inability to onboard new drivers. Thanks to Montana senators, the VA has officially repealed the freeze, allowing these volunteer drivers to be onboarded once more. Earlier this week, U.S. Senator Steve Daines with a special announcement.
Caring for our veterans is a top priority of mine, and that's why I worked directly with VA Secretary Collins to get volunteer drivers with DAV back on the road.
The return means volunteer drivers can now begin the onboarding process with disabled veterans of America. These drivers are responsible for making sure veterans who don't have adequate transportation make their VA appointments and meet their needed medical requirements.
We can always use more volunteers.
It's a relief for local DAV driver Shannon Wilson, who said a veteran was actually turned down due to the volunteer driver freeze earlier this year. Still, it will take some time before volunteer numbers aren't quite as thin.
It's an arduous process to go through to become a volunteer. Get fingerprinted, background check, several physical exams, hearing test, eye tests.
All of which can take up to 3 months. However, it's a crucial step in the right direction and a weight off the shoulders of similar services that often rely on the DAV for help.
If we are unable to meet a transportation need of a veteran, we know that there is another organization out there that can step in and help.
Great Plains Veterans Services help high-risk veterans in rural parts of the state meet their transportation needs. In fact, in breaking news for the organization, a highly rural transportation grant from the VA allows their services to now expand to 45 of 56 counties in Montana, all of them rural. This includes the addition of a new fleet of vehicles, 3 of them ADA accessible. They were initially impacted by the funding freeze on agencies, but not by an employment freeze.
The DAV has been able to assist us, and we've been able to assist the DAV with transporting veterans.
This repeal will most importantly help rural veterans who are most at risk. Just over 35% of VA veterans live in rural and highly rural areas.
We always want to make sure at the end of the day that the veteran is being served.
An executive order by the president also mandating VA employees to return to on-site work earlier this week aims to further grease the wheels of the federal agency, though many remain under threat of termination. To learn more about how to become a volunteer driver for veterans, visit our website. From Great Falls, Owen Skornick-Hayes, MTN News.
It was another windy day today in north central Montana, and per usual, the strongest wind was along the Rocky Mountain front. Deep Creek near East Glacier had a peak wind gust of 76 miles per hour. Logan Pass in Glacier National Park had a peak wind gust of 69 miles per hour. And Browning had a peak wind gust of 65 miles per hour. But there were a few spots east of the Rocky Mountain front, like Zortman, Judith Peak, as well as Chinook, that saw peak wind gusts at or above 60 miles per hour. And then places like Cut Bank, Great Falls, and Havre. It was also a very windy day today with peak wind gusts around 50 miles per hour. It's still breezy right now, but the wind's not as strong as it was during the day today. And was a mild day today. Highs were in the 50s for a lot of us and actually topped out at 60 degrees today in Glasgow. Right now we are in the 40s in most locations, so it still feels pretty nice outside. We are going to have spectacular spring-like weather tomorrow and this weekend with a good amount of sunshine, little to no wind, and mild temperatures. Now more details about this beautiful weather in my full forecast in a little bit.